game. It reminds me of myself at the quarterback position. But Josh Allen, that was a no-brainer.
You're going
That was
Josh
a
Allen.
no-brainer for me. That was the first quarterback that popped up in my head.
I'd love to have Burrow.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Joey B. Someone in the pocket. I mean, Mahomes pretty good too, but I think Burrow. I don't want someone running as much as Mahomes.
Okay, so if just to follow it, because it's a little. If Tom Brady didn't exist,
That's amazing.
Okay, and you can swipe around quarterbacks. Yeah. Gronk wants Josh Allen and the Patriots, and Edelman's going Joe Burrow. Your reaction to this theory?
The guy usually in your seat would not be laughing. He would be pounded on the table.
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I like how Edelman was like. He's like, Mahomes is pretty good, but
yes,
he's pretty good. I checked. Research department here is fantastic. He's right. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Throw the ball.
Look, I think Gronk just went with maybe his favorite quarterback to watch, and he said it reminds me of me, and that's appropriate. He's like Gronk playing quarterback. Burrow, and look, I love Burrow too. I do think Burrow would have been great in that system.
Yeah.
But I'm going to throw this out there. Brady did not have great receivers generally.
That's a good take.
Right? I mean, he had the year with Randy Moss, and obviously they didn't even win the Super Bowl that year. He had Gronk, but I'm talking about wide receivers. They weren't the greatest receivers.
Hall of Famer adjacent wide receiver Julian Edelman.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Adjacent.
Yeah, adjacent, yes. And even Welker had a great career there, but Welker didn't do anything elsewhere.
We hadn't had
before
like a Jamar Chase.
Yeah, he didn't have
We literally wanted T. Higgins.
Yes, and that's my point. We've never seen Burrow without absolute studs. Not studs at wide receiver.
And college too.
That's right. So I'm going to say Mahomes, because you can't go wrong with Mahomes. Put him in that system. I think he would have been fantastic like he is now.
I like that.
I think Brady would say Mahomes based on he was recently just asked about, is there anyone who's got a shot to catch you as the GOAT? And he said Mahomes. Yeah. So I think Brady would disagree with Gronk and Edelman. I actually agree, though, stylistically, Burrow is probably the closest to Brady. Smart, no mobility, stands around in the pocket, slings it, very smart, a winner, clutch, all of that stuff since college, to your point. They were fine, both of them, with Brady. I think that was fine. But I like also Edelman says Mahomes runs around too much, but Allen runs way more than Mahomes does. You know what I mean? There's just a few logical consistencies there that I struggle with.
Feel like a fit at all.
No.
Josh, he would do fine as well.
You take.
Okay. It's funny to see people fail to understand the psychology of these types of conversations. Obviously, Tom Brady's going to say Patrick Mahomes because it would be such a terrible look for him to not say Patrick Mahomes when everyone's saying, hey, Mahomes, is on this potential GOAT path. And if he's like, nah, I don't think so. Like, that would just be that would be bad form because obviously Mahomes is great. And you're not going to also now have his previous teammates like Gronk and Edelman being like, man, if I couldn't have Tom Brady, I want Patrick Mahomes. It's like, that also feels weird. You're gonna pick other quarterbacks than the quarterback that is, potentially trying to catch your quarterback who's, made you relevant in this world. So this is just basic psychology 101, man. This is like when your girlfriend asks you, do you think my friend's cute? It's like, I'll be right back, So it's just funny. With regards to that. The reality is you can't go wrong with any of these quarterbacks, obviously. But then they got tripped up because Edelman is saying he would want Burrow, and Gronk is saying Josh Allen, and Edelman is the one that said that Patrick Mahomes moves around too much. It's not like he was saying I'm taking Josh Allen because Patrick Mahomes moves too much. So that's just a misunderstanding of how this conversation unfolded in the first place. But it makes sense that someone like an Edelman, who's just, a traditional wide receiver, wants a guy who's going to step into the, stay in the pocket and just let the ball rip. Like, that is what a wide receiver wants. That's what's going to be the most fun for them. Tom Brady, like a Josh Allen would change the style of how that offense is played. And there's a great chance that someone like an Edelman would eat a lot less with potentially a Josh Allen, although I'd argue that if he was actually on the New England Patriots offense, it would be run a lot more conservatively and more traditionally. And so Josh Allen's mobility and Patrick Mahomes' mobility, for that matter, would be utilized a lot less, and rightfully so. But if you really are just like, well, then if that's the case, then I just really want the best passer, the best, best quarterback in that regard. It's like, well, then we can start bringing in Stafford to the mix, and and Burrow. It becomes a lot more interesting of a conversation in that regard. And people keep saying about we've only seen Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase and T Higgins with great weapons, and it's like I always joke, it's like, okay, so we'll give him a bad defense, we'll give him a bad O-line, we'll give him an inconsistent run game, and then add no weapons, and let's just see what he can do. Like, it's just kind of absurd. Not to mention, it's not like Joe Burrow is just constantly randomly throwing these 50-50 balls and is just praying that his wide receivers, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, are catching them. He's making elite throws, elite reads. Like, he's making elite high-level throws, regardless who's catching them. Now, does he benefit having Jamar Chase there to actually be the one to catch them and to score touchdowns? Can some of his stats now be increased because of that? Absolutely. But it doesn't fundamentally change the high level of the high levelness of a passer that Joe Burrow is, that he is. Like, that's the clear difference. If you were looking at something just 100% based off of stats, then yes, it is objectively true to say that Joe Burrow's stats would decrease if he didn't have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But his high quality level of passing would not, because that is who Joe Burrow is. Like, this is what's so ridiculous about someone like a passing quarterback, like a Burrow, where they're like, well, let's see him without weapons. And it's just like, well, let's see how good of a passer he is. He's like, that's what makes Joe Burrow special. That's what makes Joe Burrow special. So you're pretty much saying that his version of special is only there because of the receivers to catch the ball. That's kind of absurd, because that's like with Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, who are obviously very mobile and physical. It's like you're trying to say, well, let's see if they would really be that physical and mobile if they had, and it's just like, it's a little bit harder to do, because it's just like, if they had a better O-line, or if their coach didn't allow them to run or something. Like, it's just like, you're pretty much trying to put in a box someone's superpower. And it just doesn't really make sense to do so. Again, if Joe Burrow was just throwing high volume and he's throwing just, quick 5-yard passes that are then getting taken to the house from Jamar T, then it's just like, okay, I could understand. Or if his receivers were just such elite burners where Joe Burrow is just throwing to a wide open Jamar Chase 5 times a game, it's like, okay, then I could understand a little bit more. But it's just like, that's not the case. Again, the types of throws that I keep messing this up, that Joe Burrow is making, I mean, it's just like, talk about the definition of throwing guys open. I mean, that's just like, Joe Burrow is an elite thrower of the ball. That much is obvious. That much is really obvious. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense then why with that Patriots offense and why someone like an Edelman will be like, yeah, give me Joe Burrow. But at the end of it, I think it's really funny, because if I didn't know this clip existed, and I didn't know anything that Tom Brady had to say, and if you asked Tom Brady which quarterback would he pick as the quarterback who could surpass him as the GOAT, I'd be like, he's going to say Mahomes. And if you said, hey, we asked a bunch of Tom Brady's teammates who would they want to play with most as quarterback, if Tom Brady wasn't there, who would it be? Current quarterbacks. And I'd be like, I guarantee you the 95% of them do not say Patrick Mahomes. That's just the way it goes. That's just the way it goes. We see this all the time. We see this in basketball. The vast majority of older school guys, of older school and newer school guys, for modern basketball and old school basketball, the old school basketball players are always going to be like, well, MJ was the best, because they want to believe that they played with the best. And same thing with the newer guys. They'll still say LeBron, because they're like, well, I want to say, it's harder. We had to play LeBron. It's in Steph Curry's interest and Draymond Green's interest and Klay Thompson's interest to be like, yeah, LeBron's the GOAT, and we beat him, right? Rather than be like, nah, LeBron's not as good as MJ. MJ was better. It's like, all right, well, then you got lucky that you didn't play in MJ's era. Like, it's all a game of psychology, honestly. And that's what we saw before here. But it is a funny conversation to have. But I'm in a way, I wish Nick was here, because you're right, Nick would freak out and have a whole moral panic about the whole thing, when again, it's basic psychology. And even Joe Burrow there, if they both just picked like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, you would have a little bit more of an argument here. But Edelman's clearly thinking about like, who's just going to consistently throw me the best ball right now, and I could see that's why he's going to pick Burrow. And Gronk is like, obviously we know who Gronk is, and it's like, it makes sense that he's going to pick a Josh Allen, because he's going to see himself probably having a lot of fun nights with Josh Allen. Okay, like that much is very true, especially pre-married Josh Allen. But combined with the whole fact that you don't want an entire Patriots roster saying, "Oh, we want Mahomes," it just would hit a little differently, right? It's if you ask all of MJ's teammates, who would you want to play with if MJ wasn't there, and everyone just said LeBron, things start to get a little weird. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? I got a couple questions for you, actually. Who would you want to be the quarterback? Which quarterback do you think would have the most amount of success with the New England Patriots, and what do you make of their answers? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.